Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are doing well. So let's start with today's class of class 12 biology. We have started with lesson 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. And yesterday we have started with a pre-fertilization event in which we have studied male reproductive part. And in that we have studied the internal structure of anther. So let's continue with the topic. Next topic is microsporogenesis, which means the process of formation of microspores or pollen grains from microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell. You will understand this. First let us see this diagram that we have done yesterday. So this is the internal structure of anther, a bilobed anther, and this was the outer layers which will form the anther wall, and in the center the structure which was present was called microsporangium. So there are 4 microsporangia in a bilobed anther. Before maturation, like before dehiscence, the anther has this microsporangium which is covered by a layer of tapetum, and in the center these compactly arranged cells are called sporogenous cells, as we have discussed yesterday. So when this anther, these sporogenous cells, they are actually the cells which will form microspores. So microspores will be formed by these cells. How? Let us see. When the anther gets mature, its microsporangium increases a little bit in size. So that, why is that so? Because the cells which are present, the sporogenous cells which are present inside the microsporangium, which are closely packed, there will be some space occurs between these cells, but the size of the cell will remain same. Due to the space between these sporogenous cells, the size of the microsporangia will be increased, and this will be now considered as pollen sac. I am showing you in the same anther here, but it is not like that. This takes place in each and every microsporangia when the anther will get mature, or the stage will come when the anther has to dehisce. So in this case you can see here the pollen sac is bigger in size than microsporangia due to anther maturity. When anther matures, microsporangia is considered as pollen sac. So here you can see these cells are called pollen mother cells or MMC. MMC means microspore mother cell. Now these cells are called microspore mother cells because these are the cells which will later form microspores. Now why we are is microspore and pollen grain is same thing? We will discuss later the difference, why we are using the term microspore here and what are pollen grains then. So is it clear to you? These sporogenous cells inside the pollen sac will be considered as pollen mother cell or MMC, that is microspore mother cell. Now how these microspore mother cells will form microspores? Let's see. We have shown out of these sporogenous cells or microspore mother cells, I am showing you one cell here. So you can see this is a microspore mother cell, MMC, microspore mother cell. Now it will undergo meiosis because it has to form microspores which will form pollen grain, and inside the pollen grain male gametes will be formed. So during gamete formation, gametes are always haploid in nature, that's why it will undergo meiosis. So due to meiosis, it will form a set of 4 cells, because you know that in case of meiosis, one cell will form 4 cells. Let us just remind in your mind, remind this thing that in case of meiosis, one cell will form 4 cells that we have done in class 11. So one microspore mother cell will form 4 microspores by meiosis. Microspore mother cell is haploid in nature whereas the microspores which are formed by microspore mother cells are haploid in nature. So this is diploid in nature and these are haploid in nature because they have undergone meiosis, which will form haploid cell. Now these microspores which are formed by microspore mother cells are 4 in number. So they are arranged in such a way that they all are glued together. Means they will stick to each other to form a tetrad. Why we are calling this as tetrad? Because there are 4 microspores in one tetrad and all the 4 microspores are glued to each other. They are stick to each other. They are not separated. So here you can see I have shown 4 types of tetrads in which the microspores are arranged in different way. Let us see here. First one is the microspores. 4 microspores are there and they are present in the tetrahedral shape. So you know that tetrahedral is a 3-dimension shape. That is why the 4th microspore is not visible in this. It is at the back side. So 3 are visible and 1 is at the back, which is in the form of a tetrahedral shape. Like you have done in chemistry also, tetrahedral shape. Next one is this kind of arrangement in which all the 4 are present in a circular manner. You can see the 4 microspores in a tetrad. This is isobilateral condition in which the 4 are, this is a linear condition in which the 4 are arranged in a linear manner. And this is a isobilateral condition in which they are arranged in a isobilateral condition. I have just shown you just for the different types of arrangement of microspores. But the most common type is this tetrahedral condition. In most of the plants, flowers, this type of microspore tetrad is formed. So now these 4 are called microspores and later on these 4 will get separated. Now how they will get separated we will discuss later. These 4 will get separated and now these 4 are called microspores, not pollen grains. These are not called pollen grains. These are just called microspores. We cannot consider them as pollen grains here. So these 4 are called microspores. Now these microspores will later form pollen grains. Let us see how these pollen grains are formed. So first let me clear you in this. The microspore angium has been considered to be a pollen sac when the anther will gets mature. This pollen sac, inside this pollen sac we have these pollen mother cells or microspore mother cells which will undergo meiosis to form microspore tetrads. The most common condition of microspore tetrad is tetrahedral condition. Here you can see all the microspore tetrads. Now these microspore tetrads, they will be separated and now they will be considered as microspores. So microspores will later form pollen grains. Let us see how they will form pollen grains. So as we have discussed how the microspores are formed from MMC, microspore mother cell, they will undergo meiosis to form microspore tetrad, they will form microspores. Now from these microspore tetrads, these 4 microspores will be separated. Now these are not considered to be pollen grains. They will be converted into pollen grains. Let's see how. So out of these, I am showing this one microspore that has been converted into pollen grain. So it is like a simple cell. It has its own nucleus and its cytoplasm along with the plasma membrane outside. So the outer membrane is the plasma membrane. Now you can see here the next membrane just outer to the plasma membrane. You can see this line, this membrane. This is called intine. So this is made up of callus. So this layer, the microspore will be considered as a pollen grain when first it has 2 layers. Inner one is called intine and outer one is called exine. So inner one is formed up of callus. Callus is present in which layer we have discussed yesterday? That is the second layer, endothecium. So it will be secreted by endothecium callus and the intine will be formed around this microspore cell. Now the next layer, outer layer is called exine. The darker one you can see here. So this exine layer will be formed after around intine layer with the help of this hard substance called sporopollenin. So which layer secretes this sporopollenin? Tapetum layer. Yes, we have discussed yesterday the functions of tapetum. So in that I have told you that exine is a layer which is made up of sporopollenin, which is secreted by tapetum, and this sporopollenin is the hardest substance which protects the pollen grain. So it is very much hard substance, so that the pollen grain, the inner structure of the pollen grain is not destroyed. Now one important point here, you can see the exine is not continuous around the intine. There are some pore like structure which are present in between, where you can see exine is not present. So you can see these gaps in between where exine is not present. So what are these gaps? These gaps are actually called germ pore. So what is the purpose of having germ pore here? Because you know that the pollen grains acts as male gametophyte. Male gametophyte means a structure which carry male gametes in it. Now till now this is just a pollen grain. It doesn't have male gametes in it. Male gametes will be formed later. We will discuss later. It has in it only this pollen grain has a single nucleus in it, no male gamete. But later when the male gamete will be formed, it will be resided inside the pollen grain. But these pollen grain, the male gamete, they has to comes out from the pollen grain. For that the pollen tube will be formed. Now there should be some area or some portion of the cell from where these male gametes can come out. So these portions are actually in the form of germ pore, जहाँ पे exine layer absent होती है, so that the pollen tube can come out carrying male gametes. Clear है? Means this exine is present everywhere except this germ pore, from where the pollen tube will come out, because exine is made up of sporopollenin, which is very hard substance. It is resistant to each and everything. So it cannot allow anything to enter in or exit out. That is why the germ pore is present where there is no exine, so that the male gametes can come out from the pollen grain for pollination, for fertilization. Okay, clear? Now this you can see here, germ pore means where exine is absent. Now this structure is considered to be as pollen grain. I hope you understood the difference between microspore and pollen grain. This is microspore. When it is covered with intine and exine layer, then it is called pollen grain, because pollen grain are the structures which have to travel towards the female reproductive organ. So that is why they are covered with exine, which is a very hard covering around it. So this exine layer is that much hard that it is not affected by any kind of like external environment, high temperature, action of enzymes. Nothing can degrade it, which makes the pollen grain that much resistant that it can survive in any kind of environment, because sometimes it has to be traveled towards the female reproductive part through air. So it has to face the external environment, harsh external environment, which can degrade it. That is why exine will protect it. Similarly, sometimes the animals carry these pollen grains from one plant to other plant. In that case, if animal eats these pollen grains along with the flower or fruit, they will not be destroyed by the enzymes present in the digestive system of the organism or animal. It will not be affected by the acidic condition created in the stomach due to HCl. They as such will be released out from the body and will be transported towards the female reproductive organ for fertilization. Now is it clear that this structure is called pollen grain? Inner membrane is called intine, which is made up of callus, and outer membrane is called exine, which is made up of sporopollen. Next is formation of male gametophyte. Now as I told you, pollen grain is also called as male gametophyte because it carry male gamete in it. How does it do? So let us see the formation of male gametophyte. Now it is called pollen grain because it doesn't has male gamete in it. Further it will go under development to have male gamete in it. Let us see how. So this pollen grain, it will undergo mitotic division. Why mitotic? Because it is already haploid. It cannot show meiosis. So it will undergo mitotic division. but the mitosis that takes place in a pollen grain is not as simple as normal, like a normal mitosis. In this case, an unequal division will take place due to unequal spindle formation, because you know that during mitosis spindle formation is there, chromosomes are arranged over the spindle, they get separated and enters into two different cells. But in this case the spindle is not in the normal way, is not formed in the normal way. Here you can see the nucleus has been shifted towards one end and these two big vacuoles are formed. Why is that so? Because after mitosis, when the two cells will be formed, because you know that in mitosis one parent cell will form two daughter cells, whereas in meiosis one parent cell will form four daughter cells. Now here you can see the big vacuoles are there and nucleus is there. Now due to improper formation of spindle, the nucleus will be divided into two nuclei. Here you can see it will undergo karyokinesis as well as cytokinesis, but the division of cytoplasm is not equal. So here you can see due to unequal division of cytoplasm, one cell will be formed which have more cytoplasm as compared to the other cell which has less cytoplasm. So the cell which is having more cytoplasm, which is larger in size, is called vegetative cell. This is called vegetative cell. And the cell which is smaller in size is called generative cell. So this is called generative cell. So this generative cell is called generative because it will form the future male gamete. It will form the future male gametes. How it will form, we will see later. And from this structure, the pollen tube will be emerges out. The pollen tube will emerge out from the generative cell carrying male gamete, and it will opens up through the germ pore. Okay. So is it clear? This structure is called male gametophyte because it will carry male gametes in it, and this is a two-celled structure. So this male gametophyte is a two-celled structure. In 60% of angiospermic plants, the pollen grains are released from the anther in this form, that is two-celled structure with the vegetative and generative cell, and this is called male gametophyte. And other plants, they will carry pollen grains, but that will be a three-celled structure. So this is the most common type of male gametophyte. So this is all about the formation of male gametophyte. In the next video, we will take up the other terms related with the male reproductive organ. So there are some other terms related with the male reproductive system or organ or pollens. So we have the first one, pollen allergy. So there is a plant species called Parthenium. Its common name is carrot grass. So it has been imported into India as a contaminant along with the wheat variety. So in India, the wheat was imported from some other country. So it came along with the wheat as a contaminant. So this Parthenium causes pollen allergy because it is widely spread in the India now. Due to this pollen allergy, it can cause severe allergy and bronchial infections. Even it can cause asthma because these pollen grains, the pollen grains from this species, they enters into our respiratory system and get stick to the surface of our trachea or bronchi and cause bronchial infections and allergy, which may even cause asthma. Next one is pollen products. So as you know, pollen grains, they are a good source of nutrients. They are rich in nutrients. So in some countries, pollen grains can be directly used as a food supplement in the form of tablets as well as syrups because they are highly nutritious. They can be taken up by some athletes to take as a supplement for nutrients. Next is pollen viability. So as we all know that pollen grains are covered with exine layer which makes them viable, but it is not like that ki all the viability means the ability of pollen grains to fertilize the female gamete. So this viability is not same for all plants. The pollen grains viability can vary according to the plant. Like in case of wheat and rice, the pollen grains are viable only for 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, the pollen grain loses its viability. They will not be able to fertilize female gamete. Whereas in case of some plant families like Rosaceae, Leguminaceae and Solanaceae, these pollen grains can be viable for months. And there are some other plants also whose pollen grains can be viable for years. In that case, we can go for pollen banks. Pollen banks are the banks where the pollen grains are preserved only for basically for those plants whose pollen viability is for many years. So preservation of pollen grains in liquid nitrogen is called pollen preservation, and the pollen banks are available. So the liquid nitrogen, you know that its temperature is minus 196 degree Celsius. So it prevents pollen to get destroyed. So this is basically used in case of the pollen grains which have the viability of 1000 years. Later on, these can be used in the breeding programs for modification or for developing new varieties of plants. So with this we have finished with the first part of pre-fertilization event, that is male reproductive organ. In the next video we will start with the female reproductive organ, its parts, its internal structure and then later on fertilization.